So, you can see here also, it's a really nice synopsis of GDP, well, as far as population and the growth of GDP from 2003 to 2008. So Brazil, 7.6%, that's quite high. If you look at in the context of these more mature markets down here. So this is also a major trend that a lot of companies are paying attention to. So I just wanted to emphasize that. So just going back to the greater attention that multinationals are paying to Latin American markets. All of these products that are sold in these markets, like pacemakers, for instance, there's an instruction for use, this manual that goes with the device. These need to be translated. It's a requirement. So this is where we're seeing more products, and maybe that were only produced for certain markets, not Europe, for instance. They're being produced for Latin America. We've got this concept again of creative outsourcing, and I know in my company we rely heavily on translation agencies for linguistic testing, and we've been looking at translation agencies to help us with functional testing. We have these products that are handheld for patients, and they have a little screen that needs to be tested in 25 markets. Well, we could go to our offices in these countries, but it's more efficient to have a testing bay and test them with the technology, maybe the telephone lines and these other systems that I know a lot of translation agencies are offering. In addition to the standard form of testing that we've seen, maybe offering translators or linguists.
Could I just add something
Sure.
related to the creative outsourcing? We just when before the session we were discussing, should we call it creative form of outsourcing or innovative form of outsourcing? But I think both apply, because the term creative outsourcing is quite broad. Because in the beginning I had a different definition, but it's actually directly related to what you said. Is that I think that let's say a differentiator with translation companies is also that you can basically manage to solve or to deal with every challenge that a client is giving you. And let me just give you kind of I thought it was a nice example. We at some point we received a request from a very, very large IT company, maybe the largest in the world, to translate the software into some type of Eskimo dialect. And this is not in our, let's say, in our regular database of languages. So, any idea? If you would get that request, what would you do? Any idea?
Talk to them.
Oh, okay, we started calling consulate embassies, went to Alaska, things like that. And the fun thing is, if you keep looking, in the end you will find someone. Anyway, at some point we got a telephone number from a guy somewhere up north in Alaska. And so we called him, and he was very nice, and we were very happy because he was willing to do the translation for us. But he kindly requested us to not send the documents between the month of November and February, because then they had hunting season. So I thought it was quite nice, actually.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing that, in life sciences in general is quality. So, if your focus in your work is quality first, above, price and turnaround time, this is a real differentiator between life sciences and other industries. If quality suffers, then everything else does as well. And longer time to market, possible recalls. Got a lot of examples in the medical device industry, in particular, recent months, which are unfortunate, but they did involve patient safety and some deaths. Luckily, not my company, and I'm crossing my fingers because it's not that these other companies were negligent. Things happen. It's a human trait as much as we try to make it scientific. There are issues with manufacturing and other areas. So quality really is at a premium. And I would say if you work for a translation agency, for instance, and you are working with a medical device company, if you approach the company and said, we need another week because we really need this to be perfect, but we want it to be as close as possible speak a lot to your company. You may think that it would be a downside, but really it shows that you're focusing more on quality, or maybe you approach them from the perspective that you've got other quality metrics that you're implementing and talk about that regularly. I think that really says a lot. If you proactively approach a company and say, we want to focus more on quality, how can we help you improve your quality? I know in our case we have a separate company that does desktop publishing assurance just for the formatting and also making sure we can display our help files properly. But this is something that we do in addition to having the translation agency go through all of the regular steps. So quality is really important.
And then on that slide is just as a conclusion, as a summary. I mean, whatever source we have consulted, the trend really is that the medical device market in Latin America is growing, both from a local manufacturing as export and local consumption point of view. So that's definitely a case. I mean, it actually has started earlier. There was a little bump in 2009, but it's actually towards 2013 they are expecting a large, a big growth for this market. Regional alliances basically serve as a catalyst for the member states to get together and to harmonize the regulations, harmonize the processes. And last but not least, I mean, that probably goes back to the first one. They are really going to, come out there and own and claim their place in the global marketplace. So I think this offers a lot of trade opportunities, not only for the medical device companies who are maybe based in other countries, but definitely also for, I would say, the translation companies in this region. So get yourself prepared. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to say obrigado, gracias. Thank you. Right.
Questions? I have a question. Anyone? Of course. When you were talking about the foreseen stance, is there any ethical reason why it's done in Brazil? Let me explain the question. I mean, it's just because you have a slaughterhouse nearby and works. Because
I set myself up for this, right?
so the point is, I don't know if there are any advantages of having research and things in Latin America. As I'm thinking specifically about China with human DNA testing and things like that, because they don't have the same Christian constraints, so they just do human tests do you have anything like that in Latin America?
For Latin America in particular, I think what you see is that multinationals, I can speak more for St. Jude, but multinationals in general, if they're based in a certain market, will follow the practices of the country where they're based and infuse that into the other markets where they work. And I know that's the case with my company and other companies in the industry. There are a lot of regions, Asia, pick a continent, and it's this way, but where there's some bribery and other factors.
Always
yeah. But I don't. Yeah. But what I would say is that the standards are set at a corporate level. Yeah. And they don't vary just because we're working at